Captain America is a popular hero in America today, a comic book super soldier who became a one-man army in World War II. Even though Captain America was not real, there was another one-man army that was real. Alvin York, World War I hero. Though we know him best for capturing 132 Germans single-handedly, the rest of his life showed him to be a hero as well. Alvin Cullum York was born on December 13, 1887. He grew up in the valley of the Three Forks of the Wolf in Pall Mall, Tennessee, where he spent a lot of time with a gun. He and his friends would hunt turkeys, foxes, and other animals for food, money, and fun. For target practice, he and his friends would carve an X onto a tree with a small knife and use it for a target. Or sometimes they would take a hunted turkey, tie it behind a log, and shoot at it. The first person who shot off the turkey's head would get to take it home. He was raised in a family of 3 sisters, 7 brothers, and hard-working Christian parents. Alvin was the 3rd oldest of his 10 siblings. When his father died in 1911, shortly after getting kicked in the chest by a mule, Alvin started to get mean. He fought, drank, and gambled a lot. One day, his best friend Everett Delk was killed in a bar fight. Alvin became a Christian at Everett's funeral around 1915. Soon after, he stopped fighting, drinking, and gambling and started going to a pacifist church, where he met his future wife, Gracie Williams. In 1917, 6 weeks prior to his birthday, Alvin was drafted for war, but put in as a conscientious objector. There are several reasons someone might be a conscientious objector, but Alvin objected to going to war because his church taught that fighting and killing was against the Bible's word. His request was denied because his church wasn't a large enough Christian sect. Alvin had to appear for a physical examination, which he passed, and was shipped out to Camp Gordon a short time later. When he arrived at Camp Gordon, he told his commanding officer, Captain Danforth, that he would follow orders, but did not want to kill anyone. A few days later, Captain Danforth took Alvin to Major George Edward Buxton's office, and Major Buxton asked why Alvin didn't want to fight. Alvin told Major Buxton that he was a Christian, and in the Bible, the 6th commandment says, "Thou shalt not kill." Major Buxton asked, "Do you accept everything in the Bible, every sentence, every word, just as completely as you accept the 6th commandment?" After that, Major Buxton started reading different Bible verses, giving conditions where God sent people to war to fight and kill under his command. Alvin and Major Buxton exchanged verses, some where Christians went to war, and others where they turned the other cheek. They talked about these things for over an hour. The next day, Alvin got a pass for 10 days, and in that time, he went up on a mountain close to his home to think and pray. After which, he decided to go to war. He told his family and friends not to worry because God wouldn't let a hair on his head be harmed. After boot camp, he shipped out to France and arrived on June 27, 1918. At some point during 4 months of camping in trenches and on roadsides, Alvin was promoted to corporal because of his excellent marksmanship with a gun. On October 8, 1918, in the Argonne Forest, 4 platoons, including Alvin, set out to capture the Deckelville Railroad behind Hill 223. The men Alvin was with got pinned down in a valley by machine gunners, so Alvin and 16 other men sneaked up behind the machine gunners and took a number of Germans out before anyone noticed. In doing so, Alvin killed no less than 25 Germans. He also captured 132 of them almost single-handedly, and with the help of 7 other men, he brought them back to camp. Alvin was later promoted to colonel. In Alvin's personal journal, he describes the event in great detail and concludes, "Just the same, I have tried to forget. I have never talked about it much. I've never told this story even to my own mother. For years I done refused to write about it for the newspapers, and wasn't at all pleased when others wrote about it. But now that the story is coming out, I want it to come out right, and I want everything brought out. Everything. There were others in that fight besides me, some of them, Sergeant Early for instance, and others too played a right smart part in things until they were shot down. I'm a-telling you, they're entitled to a whole heap of credit. It isn't for me, of course, to decide how much credit they should get, but just the same, I'm a-telling you, a heap of those boys were heroes, and America ought to be proud of them. So I'm going to publish the documents, and I'm going to do it right here. They speak for themselves. When Alvin got back, after the war, there was a parade in the United States in his honor, and he was given many awards, making him one of World War I's most decorated soldiers. A few weeks later, he married Gracie Williams and started a Bible school that is still running today. Its name is the York Institute. During the inception of his schools, Alvin said, "If they're too poor to pay their way in, I'm gonna give them a chance to work their way through. If they live back in the mountains where the roads are too bad to get out, I'm gonna build roads to them. I don't know any part of America nohow that needs all this worser than we do. In our country alone, there are over 1,000 boys and girls between the ages of 6 and 18 that can't even read and write. And I'm a-telling you, it's not their fault." Whenever Alvin was asked what he wanted to be remembered for, he said, "For improving education in Tennessee." Alvin died in 1964 from a cerebral hemorrhage. Alvin showed leadership both in and out of war. In war, he showed leadership by taking charge and both killing and capturing Germans in an attempt to save his friends. Out of war, he used the money he had to build schools in places that did not have adequate education. Many who know about Alvin York know about him through Gary Cooper's 1941 movie, Sergeant York. More recently, there have been other books and radio adventures telling his story to the next generation. One of which is Adventures in Odysseys, Sergeant York, Love Always Protects. These stories about Sergeant York's life inspire people of all ages to do things for God and with God. It also inspires people to do the right, noble thing and to help others. Sergeant York did a lot to shape the results of World War I in the lives of many people, both during and after his life.